something which a lot of Star Wars fans have been wondering about ever since Chapter 13 in Season 2, is are we going to see Grand Admiral Thrawn in The Mandalorian? Now, I've always assumed it's going to be in the Ahsoka show, and maybe some crossover in Skeleton Crew, but not in the main Mandalorian series itself. A lot of fans assume his motives are the same as the Imperial Remnant, but they couldn't be more different. I don't think he's connected in any way to Moff Gideon, and therefore, Thrawn's role in the so-called Mandoverse is not related to Palpatine's contingency, but rather an extragalactic threat, one that is inbound, one that is primarily going to feature in the Ahsoka show, after she and Sabine find Ezra, who according to a few reliable sources like Bespin Bulletin and Making Star Wars, separated from Thrawn after they were launched into the unknown by the Purgle at the end of Star Wars Rebels. But now, we have some new comments by Katee Sackhoff. Could we see Thrawn in a post-credit scene at the end of The Mandalorian Season 3? Could they tease the Ahsoka show there? At Emerald City Comic Con, during a panel, the Bo-Katan actress had a blunt response to questions about Grand Admiral Thrawn's involvement in the third season. As part of the Q&A, Sackhoff was questioned whether fans should expect a follow-up to the Thrawn teased by Ahsoka in Chapter 13. She gave a cryptic non-answer. This was her body language, but she simply smiled and said, "I mean, that's a really good question, thank you." So no answer from her. She's not allowed to spoil anything, but could this imply that Thrawn is coming? Were we wrong? Is he going to appear in The Mandalorian first? The panel moderator followed up with another bold question, asking what happens in Season 3. Sackhoff, obviously bound to secrecy, cryptically answered that Bo-Katan is in her emo phase. Now, along the same lines, back in August of 2022, Rosario Dawson, Ahsoka Tano herself, was asked about Thrawn's whereabouts, revealing him to be, quote, incognito. She said, obviously we're really trying to track him down, so we'll see what happens. Now, what's really amazing is that in the press tour, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have not even acknowledged Grand Admiral Thrawn. Now, obviously he's going to be a big surprise, they're not going to say it, but we do know he's coming, and sources close to the Ahsoka show said Lars Mikkelsen looks menacing with his red eyes. But they're being very secretive. This is a character that has a long history in the franchise. A strategic genius, Thrawn served under Palpatine during the Empire's reign, but he didn't do this out of loyalty, but rather to advance the Chiss ascendancy. He was studying, learning, and trying to gather resources. He originates in Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire, the first of the Thrawn trilogy. Much more recently, there are of course canon Thrawn books by Zahn as well, but his biggest appearance in canon so far was in Star Wars Rebels, which Ahsoka is the spiritual heir to. But some fans have noticed there are tropes in the Mandoverse which are very similar to those in Heir to the Empire. Are we experiencing a sort of retelling? Not word for word, but a kind of adaptation. Now, we've spoken in the past about what Thrawn is up to, the situation with the Night Sisters, the tease of Morgan Elsbeth, but despite these clues, reports and leaks, the true intention for what Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have planned for his story are unknown. That's the magic of this show. They take us in all sorts of directions, and the story unfolds very slowly. We have a lot of time to speculate. Is Katee Sackhoff's cryptic response a clue that Thrawn will at least be name-dropped or addressed? He doesn't need to show up. They could tease the Ahsoka show a different way. Carson Teva warned of an incoming threat. A lot of us assume this could be about Gideon, but what if it's about Thrawn? What if what he's up to in the New Beyond, the unknown, has started to create waves and symptoms elsewhere, maybe in the Outer Rim, where Teva's New Republic group is based? I'm so excited if they do address him. I think anticipation for the Ahsoka show is going to be massive, and so any little breadcrumb is going to make fans very, very happy indeed. Could it be one of the internet-breaking moments? Imagine at the end in a post-credit scene seeing the Chimera and Grand Admiral Thrawn zooming in on those eyes. And the great thing is that even if we don't, rumour has it that on the Sunday of Star Wars Celebration, we're getting an Ahsoka panel, maybe a release date, and teaser trailer. It's the next big live-action show after The Mandalorian. Really awesome stuff. And so now, my dear friends, Diego Luna shared his honest feelings about the series ending after Season 2, Andor that is. Instead of outstaying its welcome, the show will have only 2 seasons. It was originally going to be 5, but now it's 2. Many fans, including myself, are disappointed by this. I thought Andor was peak Star Wars content, but Diego Luna revealed it's important for his mental health to just do 24 episodes. He said, knowing this is the end, I want to enjoy it and get the best out of this experience. It is just a 2-season show, which is really important for my mental health. Cassian's story was always going to end in Rogue One, which is what the events of Season 2 lead up to. and from what he's filmed so far for season 2, he describes it as remarkable. And just like for season 1, the second season is going to show us that he's willing to sacrifice everything for the rebellion. Diego went on to say, "For me, this has always been a story where the people bring change. The ones you can call heroes are just regular people doing extraordinary things." Season 2 is a while off, releasing sometime in the second half of 2024. He emphasizes the lengthy hard work they're doing, and finishes by saying, "The only thing I can promise is that we'll do it with the same respect, rigor, intensity, and energy. We are not going to rush it." That's the beauty of this show. It's just 2 seasons, and we can concentrate and try to deliver something as good or even better. Now, Andor's been the subject of a lot of fan discussion over the last few weeks. A lot of people are comparing it to The Mandalorian, especially when trying to put one show down, but the reality is you can't make such a comparison. They're 2 very different styles of Star Wars, 2 different flavors of the universe, and liking one over the other is fine, but they're not one-to-one in terms of themes, storytelling, and what they achieve. To make a direct contrast and comparison is wrong. Now today we also have some Ahsoka news. The cinematographers have finally been announced. Eric Steelberg, who did Juno and Hawkeye, and Kuyen Tran from Here and Now and Unbelievable. These 2 very talented individuals are serving as cinematographers on the Ahsoka show. And so finally, my dear friends, do you know the Asogians, the ET species that appeared in The Phantom Menace? Well, there's a good argument to be made about why they might appear in Skeleton Crew. Director Steven Spielberg and George Lucas's friendship is well documented, as is their appreciation for each other's work. In E.T. the Extraterrestrial, Spielberg incorporated a fun reference to Star Wars, with one scene including a kid dressed up as Yoda, and that was in the Halloween sequence. Lucas later returned the favour in 1999 by having a few members of the E.T. species be part of the Galactic Senate in The Phantom Menace. The species, which is canon in-universe, are known as Asogians, and they've appeared in comics as well. Well, given that the upcoming Mandoverse show Skeleton Crew is said to be Amblin Spielberg inspired, then they could appear in that show. That'd be the perfect place for a cameo. The series by John Watts and Jon Favreau is an Amblin-style coming-of-age story with kids lost in space who come across pirates. We've also been told there are plenty of aliens, and given the genre and tone, Asogians appearing would be amazing. Star Wars in recent times pays homage to a lot of other franchises, be they Jurassic Park, Alien, Indiana Jones, and so on. But what do you guys think? Would you like to see an ET species in the show? And with that said, my dear friends, that brings us to the end of today's Star Wars news update. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. May the Force be with you always.